All right, I am here with Joe. I, of course, am Caleb Schweiss of Emmanuel's Song. Joseph is the director. I was the assistant producer or whatever.
Co-producer. That's your official title.
I should just be the procurer of funds.
That is true.
That should be my title.
Could you? Okay,
Master.
What was your main job?
So this movie is about a guard, right? A guard and his fellow guard
about Officer Schweiss.
who they come across this very strange man, and they are very rough with him. They call him out on his BS, and I don't know, some other stuff happens before and after, but none of that matters. The movie is about Officer Schweiss and Officer Wilson. I, of course, played Officer Schweiss, fittingly, and yeah, so we are here. This is going to be like a little behind-the-scenes thing. We're going to talk about the making of Emmanuel's Song. I was there for some of it, as these guys in the room know. These guys being Joe,
yes,
our producer Paige, and Parker, one of the two, I guess. The fuck? What is your position again?
DP. I was the only.
Oh yeah, the DP. Yeah,
director of photography.
Yeah, you guys make it look good. So, which you did, in fact, do. It looks great. So we're going to kind of go through the process of making this movie happen. There are only a few things that I know took place through the various chat methods we have and my time on set.
No idea.
Yeah, I really don't. So this will be a learning experience for me as well as the audience. So, Joe, I guess it kind of starts with you and the writing of the script. I know we've touched on this a little bit before, but what really set you off? What made you want to make this a thing?
Well, this was done in tandem as like a senior projects for our bachelor's program at Utah Valley University, and they were looking for scripts to do the senior projects on. And what it sounded like at the time was that the department was going to pick the best scripts that we submit, and we were going to make those, which turned out to be an utter and complete lie, except for our project, which was, whatever. Anyway, so I was just looking for ideas for a script, and I think one night I was just browsing around on Wikipedia at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like going through like the Night Stalker, and I was going through like a whole bunch of like interesting serial killers and criminals, and eventually somehow I found Brian David Mitchell again, like with the Elizabeth Smart thing. I was like, whatever happened to that guy, that weird dude?
Yeah.
And I found this video that was in a whole interrogation with Brian David Mitchell that the Salt Lake Tribune had released on YouTube. And it's a police interrogation, so it is public domain. And so I felt like, I can actually adapt this. And so I adapted that. I read up on Brian David Mitchell. I screwed up a lot of things. There's a lot of things in the movie that are not true, but as I figured, it's an adaptation of the interrogation, and we took some artistic license with it. But so I came up with an idea. I took that by a few people that made some changes. I originally had it in chronological order, so the entire part of the like flashback stuff. Because in the movie we have it now, it goes flashback, then we're back in the present, or in 2003, I guess. Yeah. We got that picture of George Bush to remind everybody.
Subtext.
Freedom.
That's right. And then we go, we use it as flashbacks in the movie, but I originally had it in chronological order where the entire first act up to when he opens the book, as it is in the movie now, that was all in the first act, and then the interrogation was the second act, and then the third act is when he goes back to the cell. And then I was given there's a credit in the movie that says I think it was faculty mentor. It was Alex Nibley who said you should switch this around and be flashbacks back and forth, and he was right, I think. And so I wrote it that way. I wrote it in about 4 hours, and it was probably the best writing I've ever done up to this point. Even now, as I'm writing a fully feature-length script, I'm like, not quite as good as Emmanuel's Song, unfortunately.
Emmanuel's Song is the benchmark.
It's all downhill from here. That's what I say. So that's how the script started, and we submitted it as a possibility for senior projects. There seemed to be all these other projects floating around, and they were just none of them had scripts. which is really annoying because I was like, I have a script. These guys don't have a script, but somehow it's like it says that they're a group for senior projects, and so that was a pain to get going. Anyway, that's how the movie got started.
All right, well, how did you get these guys on board? I mean, obviously you would have had me regardless because I've helped out with other various projects, if you will, in the past, and
That's true.
we always
Schweiss is my my muse. It's like my go-to actor.
He has a cameo in every film.
He
That's
does
right,
have
yeah.
pretty, but yeah, every film for the last like 6 years has Schweiss in it. It seems
yeah, I love it. So I just want to expand my portfolio.
like, yeah, that's it.
But so what got you in touch with these guys? I mean, what was the process behind getting crew members for the film itself?
We're all in the oh god,
Yeah.
that's a big discussion. First off, we're all part of the same school, so we all
Right.
just know each other from classes. And we were kind of, because we weren't part of those set groups, at least me and Paige.
Yeah, our group got disbanded and then turned into another group. So, like, I hadn't heard anything the entire summer. Showed up the first day of class. Oh, I don't have a group anymore. Well, duh. And I'm like, well, hi, Joe. I'll be in your group. That was basically
That's
it.
what happened.
That was me.
Oh
too.
wow!
Yeah,
I volunteer as tribute. That's what happened.
and that was going to happen with Parker. I asked the guy in charge, Dennis. I asked him to put Parker into senior projects, despite the fact that he was he wasn't a senior yet.
Yeah.
So that Parker could be my director of photography. The person I wanted to be director of photography was like booked up. No offense, Parker. I'm actually like way happier with your work. And like I am blown away by your work, and I am underwhelmed
you.
by the work of the people that
Who did you want?
I wanted Skylar,
Oh.
and then I
Skylar
wanted
does good work.
Ryan.
Ew.
And both of them, they wanted to work together on a project, and they didn't want to work on my project because neither of them had read the script.
I don't know
and
if
didn't
you.
care.
I don't know if you really have to apologize because it sounds like you were like last resort. They're like, well,
He
since
wasn't-
I'm screwed, I'll be on Joe's team. Since there is nowhere else to go,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, I worked with you on a group prior to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Joe and I have worked together before, so I
guys
was
have?
like, yeah.
Yeah, they
I
have,
DP'd
yeah.
for him for their last, like, director.
Michael Clayton scene,
that's right.
But really,
That
it
you
was
acted in.
Joe
I did,
DPing
yes.
Because you were...
my greatest performance to date.
I'm sorry. So could you say that a little closer to the mic?
Okay, so when I DP'd for you on your little director's short, it was really kind of you who DP'd because you were just right, like, there. Like, right there. You just I just couldn't let go.
Wait, I explain to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about.
You have... I guess I don't know how to be on a podcast. You have a hard time letting go of creative control when it comes to camera work.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that was that's what I got from that.
Oh.
But it was fine.
It was fine.
It worked out.
Parker, what do you think about
This
that?
is secretly like a meeting just to bash Joe.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Joe Hate podcast.
Joe, you're the worst director.
Yeah, so they, oh my gosh. So they got involved,
Joking
just
up.
kind of, they volunteered to help me on my project.
You're right.
And I thought we had a really strong script. We had people initially in the faculty who were really behind our project. Somehow they dropped off the face of the planet for the last 8 months or whatever.
Yeah. What happened to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. But anyway,
There's too many swears. Too many
that
swear
might
words.
have
Was it
been
more of just it's theoretical and it's such a great idea, and then we're doing it, and then they're like, ooh.
Yeah. I think it's one thing when it was on paper, and then they realized we were actually going through with it, and they're like, oh, you actually have people talking about molesting girls, and you actually show, like, a child being beaten. Okay, I don't like this anymore.
You're more of a man child, but yes.
Well, yeah,
More of a,
he
yeah.
he
He was
like-
supposed to be a child,
he
but
was
then
grown.
he was...
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun too. Okay, Paige, can you walk us through the beginning, like the last 4 months of last
Oh
year?
God.
Could you walk us through just the hell it was to get this movie before we started shooting?
It was the worst.
It was the worst.
I felt insane.
It was the best.
I didn't realize the full extent that this project was going to require. I thought people were cool and were like wanting to like help. You know, when you talk to people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I so want to be a part of your group. Tell me things. I want to help. I want to be participant." And I'm like, false. You're a liar. People don't. Like, people say they're going to show up and they don't. So
Yep.
like
happens a lot.
I'm trying to like maintain as professional as possible. Yes, we are a student-run project, but if you're presenting yourself as a professional and one that can be one, and you make a scheduled auditions at like a location that isn't the university,
Yeah.
you'd think that people would be like, "Oh, this seems like a thing, right?" No.
Nope.
So
Nope.
easy parking, easiest parking in the world. I hate UVU parking. That's another thing. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, no one showed up.
That's a whole other
So
story.
we spent how many hours?
No
did we
one showed
spend
up
there?
to our audition.
2 hours of just sitting there.
Yeah.
I think it was like was it
3?
two?
We might have waited longer.
I feel like it was like a day.
There seemed to be like a lot of people interested in it when it was like, oh, it's Brian David Mitchell thing. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a lot of feedback on Facebook and
yeah.
a lot of shares, and a lot of like likes.
Yeah.
And then no one came to the audition.
Yeah, there were like, I think like 2,000 people had seen the post. We were like, we should get a few people to come
Yeah, I
to,
was-
to
Yeah,
audition.
I was
Out
thinking
of
like what's like
2,000?
7%, as they say, like out of like the 100 or whatever that see it, then
Yeah.
you get 7 people. I don't know what the statistics.
It's 1%.
The 1%.
Internet rules is 1%.
1%. That was 7.
Anyway,
7
Yeah.
would be awesome.
7
So
would be
10
amazing.
people out of 100, we should have gotten 10 people. Wait, that's not 1%. That's 10%.
That'd be one person. So if you were like 0.9 people, then you got exactly how many you should have gotten.
How do you have a 0.9 of a person?
You don't. It goes down to 0. Unless they're like missing a limb or something. I don't know.
Got it.
If we're gonna get technical here. But yeah, that was that was kind of a big blow. I mean, I figured for sure because I wanted a part in it. That was like my one of the things I said. I'm like, well, I'll help you with this thing, but I'm gonna have to have a part. Like that's how it's gonna have to be. I mean, it could be super minuscule, like it is, or even less so. Not that that's really possible, because the cast is pretty much all important. There's no like random people, no crowd shots, anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was like
Everyone's important.
yeah, that was one of the things I said, and it was like, well, we'll see. After that, I was
It
like,
was a struggle to cast. I mean, eventually we did cast. And
We did.
We had actors bail, which actors are just kind of known for being flighty in general. I'm not going to say.
Okay.
But
So
Yeah.
this is how I got some help on this thing. So I know Susan Phelan. She grew up she was in my neighborhood while I was growing up, and she's a local filmmaker person. She directed a movie called Start With Nothing, which I was an extra in.
Oh, yeah.
And she just knows a lot of people. She's just one of the networking people. She's like part of Utah Women in Film or whatever. And I asked her, I was like, hey, we need people. We need actors who are willing to work on this thing for free. And then I said the roles that we needed to fill, and then she just went through her Facebook friends and gave me a whole bunch of people. And what I did was I went through and I messaged them one at a time saying, this is what the project is, this is the link to the script, and consider being in it and we'll talk. And we eventually got the actors that we got that way. And a couple of them bailed.
yeah, but luckily the ones that stayed and worked hard, and
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
I love it when people show up. I love it.
We did have
Show up.
we had some people a lot. I think for the Brian David Mitchell part, had quite a few people to pick from in quotes, but I was talking to a lot of different people. And one of them, okay, so actually first there was a guy that Bob Condor
Yeah, recommended.
recommended.
Yeah, and I got in contact with him.
Oh, is this the guy?
No,
Yeah.
this is not that
This
guy.
isn't the guy.
This is the first guy
we'll
where we
get
were
to
like,
him.
we might have a Brian David Mitchell.
Right.
this is just the
And
guy.
This is
he
just a
said
guy.
that I don't really know how much we should.
Don't say any names.
Well, no, okay. I don't even remember
call him-
names.
call him-
It's just
Call him Emmanuel.
he had said that that the style of the project wouldn't fit with his standards, which is fine because it is rough standards. Like, I mean, it's not PG by any means. It is R, if not more so, depending on some
Definitely
people's
not more so.
definitions. Well, it's not like you got to look at someone's like point of view. Like they're seeing some of these things, and they're gonna like, oh my goodness, this is not appropriate for children. Like, I mean, some of the R's today can there's enough of like a flair to it that you might not notice how R it is, but this one is it's very uncomfortable at times.
Okay. Yeah. But
I loved it.
It is uncomfortable.
It's
You're right.
good though.
So this is what I heard about that dude.
Yeah.
Our first choice. Our first choice said that to you. This is what he was in another project that was going on.
Yeah.
Which was this pilot for a TV show, possible TV show that a friend of ours was putting on. And this guy apparently told him, he was just talking about our script, and William overheard him. And apparently, he said he would have done it. He would have thought it was an amazing role, but his wife and his daughter would have killed him if he was in it.
I wish he just would have been straight with us. I mean, then what it is what it is.
Second choice.
Second
choice. I have the message right here. So I send him the thing. I say, these are the shooting dates. If you're interested, take a look at the script. Dude says, I'll take a look at it.
Welcome to the You'll Never Work with Joe Again podcast.
This is the guy who sent this. And I know this is over text, so maybe in his head it was a nicer statement. Sorry. That's much too dark and evil of a character to do for free in a project that no one will ever see.
The end.
That's it?
I did not know that last bit.
Yeah.
OMG.
Yeah, see this?
That
It's
no
on
one
my
will
messenger.
ever see?
That no one will ever see, yeah.
How can that be misconstrued as
It's funny.
maybe this is
He
polite?
saw it because our man Antonio, who I'm so glad we got, by the way.
Yeah, he's great.
He shared it on his Facebook page, and then the other guy was like, "Oh, it's really good. You did a good job."
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily retract some of the other stuff, the free part, I guess.
Well,
but
yeah. Anyway, hopefully some people.
hopefully
see
he
it.
felt bad, though. He was like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
And
It probably didn't even affect him.
I mean, we wanted to pay actors initially too. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
to
was a
get this
dream.
movie going because we weren't going to have any university help behind it. And so it was you have to fund the projects yourselves. And we're like, we don't have the money.
Yeah, they don't want to be part of it unless it's
So we
Okay.
we made a budget that included paying actors. And then we kind of went from there. The most important thing, of course, to feed the cast and crew.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what was paid for. And,
Almost
and some
exclusively.
production design things. We had to buy a couch for this movie. And we had to make a jail cell,
Yeah.
which was a big part of our budget.
That looked
It
dope.
looked pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was great.
Anyway, so that's why that was your biggest role, Caleb, was raising money for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a joint thing with Joe and I. Obviously, those of you who are listening to this either own the movie and have this on there or are listening to the podcast that used to be Joe and I's personal goals podcast. And as well. So, I mean, we reached out to our listener base and asked them for any sort of funds, family, friends, ourselves. I mean, I know each of us has put a good amount of money into this thing. I mean,
A few $100s, yeah.
yeah. It's as an actor, I felt like I shouldn't outbid the director, so I only put in 50, but I did my fair share, and we had some great help from you guys out there, and that was I was actually really surprised. I mean, when I saw that initial budget, I was like, that is a lot of money, man. I don't know if we can.
And we didn't hit the goal that we wanted.
No, we didn't. But honestly,
Yeah, we got quite a lot.
we didn't need it, as far as I can tell. It would have been nice, probably, but
It would have been
necessary.
very nice.
It would have made some situations a lot easier.
It would
Yeah.
have made casting a lot
Yeah.
easier.
Casting, and then also the post work with getting into festivals that would have cured that ailment. But
Yeah, my last paycheck at my job that I just quit paid for that. So
nice.
Yeah.
See, so we didn't even need it, right? We didn't even need it.
Yeah.
Joe doesn't need
An
money.
extra $600 right now would be nice. But
No,
whatever.
no, that's crazy.
Anyway, so we had that problem. That was a big fiasco. That jail cell thing.
That is something that's wrong with the university. Like, I got in contact with the juvenile detention center, and they have a location that is no longer in use. And BYU has just recently filmed their Extinct series there. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea.
Anyway, people film
dead to
things
me.
there.
I just watch Game of Thrones.
They film things there. That's all you need to know. So I was planning on using that location, and it was seemingly working out on the other side with the juvenile detention center, but the UVU's insurance wouldn't change some of the verbiage in the paperwork, even though they can. They are entirely capable. And he's like, everything that's there is all that you need to know. And I've already sent you everything. And I'm like, well...
This was the legal person
this is
at
the insurance
university?
guy at the UVU. And I'm like, no.
Well, he is an insurance guy, so he's miserable. So.
Clearly, he is just angry with his life. I don't know. And I'm like, well, it's not right, and it needs to say this certain sentence, or they won't cover us. And he's like, "Rah." And I'm like, well,
That's a pretty good response.
it was
Just
so
rah.
ridiculous. I can't.
Paige almost died making this movie.
Yeah, I was stress-free the
I
entire
did develop
time.
a facial twitch, and I could no longer smile without feeling pain. That happened. I'm not kidding. That was a thing. Like, right here in my cheeks, like if I smiled, it was like severe pain in my face.
Your body's just like, it's a lie. You're not happy.
allowed to be
Did it
happy.
eventually go away, though?
Yeah, like
Smile
once,
now?
Yeah, I can smile now. Like once we finished filming, like the day after, like my facial twitches
It
went
all,
away.
it all came back.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, we had to, because we weren't fully cast, the original shooting dates that we had, and we of course have a timeline to shoot this thing.
It was like, yeah.
It moved twice. We had to move it like to, okay, it'll be 2 weeks further down the road until we catch the lead in this thing. And finally, Antonio finally saw it, and he said he was in.
We got lucky.
And we did get lucky.
Got a sweet beard.
He does have a
Yeah.
sweet beard.
He looks creepy.
That was my thing. It was like, we need a guy that's kind of middle aged, and he's got to have a beard.
Yeah.
And that was our
That was Antonio.
That was our initial statement. And I think he did great. One of the biggest surprises, and we got him cast because of a Utah filmmaker group on Facebook, and I just put anybody look like Jesus, and then we got a guy named Ryan Temple Man. Yep.
Did somebody... Oh, never mind. I know what happened.
That was me. I'm sorry. Guys.
We had a little mess up
I
in
have a bit of dyslexia.
Don't show that to anyone.
Ryan Templeman, and he looks like Jesus, and he was great. And I'm probably the most happy with his role. Couldn't find a kid to fit a role that was cast for someone much younger, so we got a guy who kind of has a baby face. So we're like, maybe he passes for like 16 or so.
Mitchell Tyrone.
Yeah, and that is his voice.
Yeah.
Some people have said, like, is that his voice?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
it
his
is his
voice.
voice. Someone asked if it was looped. Who was that? Was that Seth?
Luke?
I don't know. I just chuckled at when it first came out because
Okay.
I had forgotten. I know it's super rude, but
Anyway,
it worked really well.
So-
though. He was awesome.
we had 6 days of shooting. Parker, what was our preparation cinematography wise for this show?
Jesus.
Well, we had Jesus.
Praise him.
You pray.
Praise
No
the
pun
Lord.
intended. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
There was, you mean as far as just like anything, equipment? Because we got
From the beginning.
Because that's a whole story.
We had-
with Kate.
here's the thing.
No names.
All right, I had one thing that was me and Paige had things we were working on, and then me and Parker had things we were working on.
And
me and
Hector
Paige were
was-
having the heart attack round, and then me and Parker were like, let's go storyboard.
Yeah, you guys seem to have a lot of fun.
Let's draw pictures.
And every time you'd call me, I'm like, God, what now? And it was like, okay, on my phone, you are like up at the top of it's generated by frequency, not like
Right.
me, like favorite. No, it's except for my husband. He's there. He's number one. But like,
Sure.
And then it's like my dad for some reason, and then you,
And then Joe.
and then I'm like, oh my God, how much do we talk to each other? And I'm like,
Well, it was
Well, clearly
super
it's
stressful.
too much, but
So on the Page side, I was like dying, but then on the Parker side, we were like, "Oh, let's storyboard."
And of course, he was trying to keep all of the fun from Paige. He's like, we can't have Paige storyboard with us.
That's not what producers do.
We invited her. I was
this
like,
is
"Hey,
my
we're gonna
wine-
storyboard," and then
Did
she
not
couldn't go.
invite
This is
me
my
to
wind
story
down
time.
with Parker time, where I just get to chill, just slide down that stress
I
hill.
couldn't come to the podcast though. That was a bummer.
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
come to that.
Okay.
Here
Well,
we
you're
are.
here.
I'm here now.
Congratulations.
This one, yeah.
I'm here at this one.
Parker, what was our process, and then what did it turn into?
Geez. Well, I mean, we had a lot of good help from. Shout out to Dan DeMille at the aviation department.
Yes, thank you.
He
Yeah.
hooked us up with the Red Epic.
Yep.
Schweiss has a good story about the Red Epic.
Have I not told you?
No.
Oh, dude. Okay, so
What
my
is this?
buddy Christian used to work in the aviation department. He was a programmer for him, and he would register everybody, make sure everybody's registered for classes. Everything's all kept up on the back end of the program itself. And I remember 4 years ago, he was losing it because he's like, dude, my boss went off the deep end. And I was like, what happened? He's like, he bought this camera. And I'm like, well, what kind of camera is it? And he's like, it's a Red Epic. It is this massively expensive camera. I'm like, why? Do you guys use it for the training videos? He's like, well, yeah, but I mean, yesterday he seriously spent 6 hours just rolling a pencil across the table and showing people how awesome it looked and messing with the settings and so this thing, it was this huge joke, and I'm like,
My
dude,
man Dan.
yeah, I'm like, you should probably be making more money if they can blow money on a camera that good.
It's not a cheap camera.
No,
They
it's
don't have a camera that
ridiculous.
good in the film department.
Yeah,
we
how
don't
did they
have-
manage that?
Those-
How are they we need this? And
don't know.
aviation's okay.
I don't know. No one knows. Yeah.
Dan probably
he
killed
knows.
a few people.
He's just.
He's like, all right, we need to fire 3 employees so that we can afford this over the next 6 years, $20,000 a year.
Or whatever he did. I'm
Well,
glad
thank
he
goodness
did
he did.
Yeah, and it was
We
super
used
funny
it.
because you guys were freaking out. You're like, well, we found a really great camera, and it was the aviation department has it. I'm like, wait, what? Dude, I remember when that thing was bought. It was ridiculous then too.
it's still ridiculous.
The videos for the aviation department better be insanely good. They've got pyrotechnics and
any of them.
shit, and just way over the top for the program. Do you want to fly?
Yeah, I just think they film planes landing and taking off. It's not even. Yeah. I know he does interviews and stuff, but
Oh, there's no
We have to use those Sony
Yeah,
POS
we have-
cameras.
yeah, we have a Panasonic
I
or
know.
whatever
The most flat-looking.
thing.
Why is this
camera.
a? Why
And
is
then
this
they always
a?
talk
the
about
worst,
how great they
nicest
are, and
camera.
Yeah, and I'm like, this looks like crap.
Why is this a 30 gig video file? Oh my god, it looks amazing.
and we have a red one. It's like a dinosaur,
Yeah.
which is what we were going to do as a.
Oh yeah, it's good enough for Fincher.
Default.
It's good enough for us. That's
good
my
enough.
motto.
It was good enough for
to also
Fincher.
tell
Now
Dennis
the
who was
standard
you
is
should edit
Red
on
Epic.
Avid and not on Adobe. You know what?
It's what is cost effective.
The real question here, though, Joe, is can you go back once you go Red Epic?
Nope.
You don't
Can't
go
go
back.
back.
What are you
It's
gonna do?
hard.
Can we
It's-
get it again?
Skylar told me, I asked him what was the new 5D, what was the new thing that independent filmmakers were going to. He said it was the Sony A7S, so I might have to try it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Parker
I don't know
doesn't
if that's entirely
I don't.
true.
I don't want.
And the crazy thing about this camera is even the still shots are just amazingly good looking. Which
They look like paintings.
yeah, it's crazy.
Painting
the-
with light.
The pictures we have
Oh,
on the
Thomas
website
Kincaid.
and all of that, just yeah. So it's
like the
ridiculous, but I remember the initial.
That's
buy.
That's funny to hear. That's Dan's a little eccentric, but I
Clearly.
love him.
How do you know him?
I used the Red Epic for our class that we were in together. Actually, our director's workshop class that I had Benji DP, and I don't even
look
know.
good.
It was no one knew him. I just heard that the aviation department had a Red Epic, and I'm like, who's the guy? And I asked around, and finally someone told me. I can't even remember. They're like, oh yeah, his name's Dan, and I'm like, okay, do you know his email? Emailed him.
Yeah,
He's like,
that was
yeah,
it.
come on over.
Was he
And
messing
my
with the
gosh.
pencil when you found him? He's like, hey,
He may
hey,
have been. It's been so long.
hey, kid, come look at this.
Yeah.
Oh man, look how good that looks.
No, really. Every
See
time
that?
I've visited him quite often, and every time I would stay there for at least an hour because he'd just tell me "Oh, I just love these cameras. I love it." And let me
an airplane guy, or is he a camera?
No, he's a film guy. Yeah.
He's like,
he's a film
I can't
guy.
believe
He
I
just
was
happens
able
to be at the aviation.
Wow.
I can't believe I was able to get away with this. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's a cool
now,
guy.
now he needs the red, like, what is it?
Weapon, I
The
think
red
it's-
weapon? Yeah,
yeah.
the 8K.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You should
He probably will.
plant
No
the idea in his
projector
mind.
can
Be
use
like,
this.
Oh, yeah.
be like, hey, that red epic's
No,
getting kind of
it's-
old.
it's
Hey,
Pretty
that
easy.
looks kind of crappy. The Emmanuel song didn't look very good. I wish we had a nicer
Yeah,
camera.
It's going downhill. You gotta get the next thing.
He probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already like trying to get a hold of it.
So let's get in your artistic. Let's stop bitching about the process of making it, which was hard.
Yeah.
I gained like 20 pounds. Paige had a nervous breakdown. Parker relaxed. Parker
I killed a few people,
kicked
buried
his
them out in the
legs.
desert.
Actually, no. Parker did have to deal with some bureaucratic BS that we had to deal with when getting equipment. And then he also, Parker helped me build the jail set in the middle of the night with
It's
some
mostly
other
you,
people, which was a big pain in the butt. Tell us your artistic process for cinematography.
My artistic process.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through, you and I, we talked about, like, you had me watch, what were the films now? I'm trying to remember.
There was a lot of them.
There was a lot of films, yeah. And I don't think I watched all of them.
Nope, you didn't.
I watched a few of them. And I think the main thing was we knew we wanted it to look good. I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen student films, and, like,
I've seen my own.
yeah, we all have, yeah. Even mine.
I'm
like,
going to
yeah.
have a director of photography. It better look like I had a director of photography.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
And so we wanted it, and the thing was, most of it's in one location.
Right.
And so, I mean, you could just shoot, the same angle over and over again, but you and I had extensive talks about, going the Silence of the Lambs route and shooting
Yeah.
right into people's
Which was the
eyes and-
only idea that carried over during the storyboarding, by the way. So
Yeah.
we storyboarded everything.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I
and then
digitalized all of it.
yeah.
I did.
Oh,
Did you study them and you were like, this is
Yeah,
looks
I started
nothing
looking
like...
at them, and they look like these freakish cartoons. Like this
Well,
guy
neither of us are good
And
artists.
it's just like,
As long as we knew, both of us knew what
We
it was
understood,
supposed to
yeah.
look like.
We're like, oh yeah, that's Brian David Mitchell, the weird squiggly line
Anyway.
in the corner.
So the only things that made it over was we wanted the Jonathan Demme shots from Silence of the Lambs where when things get really tense, they look right into the lens,
yeah.
which we did. It's on the very end scene of the movie. And then also when Brian David Mitchell is in the hallucination,
Yeah.
when he's beating the cop, we were like, this is going to
2001.
be 2001 on a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to match it with the other thing, which we didn't really match it that well. Unfortunately, we just couldn't because the location was really confining.
Yeah.
But we basically did that. So those were the only things that stayed. So actually, we kind of lit everything as it was when we got there. Like
Yeah.
we basically threw everything out.
Which I think is kind of good. I mean, we like knew what we liked and what inspired us, but we didn't like copy, like we didn't
Right.
set out to make another, like a remake of a film. Like we made our own thing. Like Emmanuel's Song is its own film.
Well, you
It speaks for itself.
overplanned, and then whatever the situation arises, you guys.
Yeah.
I think you handled it great. Like some of the days, I think we cut down on the amount of coverage that you guys did just for time.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you were able to get what we needed.
But I think it worked. Yeah.
Oh, in
Like,
the edit, I was pulling my hair out. Being like,
Yes.
next time I direct something,
Yeah.
we're getting a little bit more coverage.
Oh, I think
And that was like a
day-
thing with Parker and me. Like,
Yeah.
and this is me being stupid. I was like, I want to do this like Kubrick. I don't want to do very much coverage. I want to keep everything in a wide.
Yeah.
And then that turned out to be in the edit, just like, oh, why did I do that?
But it turned out all right.
It turned out all right. I think it turned out all right.
I think it's a good thing that you didn't watch all of the movies, or else you would have gone into like Tarantino mode and been like, you know what, I'm just going to take that shot right out of that movie. I'm just going to put
Yeah.
it
I don't think there's
I'm
anything
just going to
wrong
put
with
it
that.
right in there. No, there's not necessarily anything wrong with it, but it does feel like its own thing.
They only
Yeah.
my only directorial flourish, because I had a lot in the storyboards. There's a lot of directorial flourishes. It's gonna be cool and stylish. Only thing I had was like we just switched the lenses every time the interview kept going, so that the space behind them would compress.
Yeah.
That was like our one idea for the day. We're like, that's the only, and then it's gonna be basic coverage. And we'll move the camera a little bit from, like, we had
Yeah.
some shot ideas that we kind of matched, but
Yeah, and we did
Yeah.
we played with angles a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
because like I said, in one room it would have been super boring. Like I'd say like 80% of the film is in that one room, but I feel like, and I don't know if it's just because I'm so attached to it, But like, I feel like we did really good. Like, it's never like, oh, we're in this room again. Like, it's the interrogation room again. Oh, okay. Like, I feel like it looks different. Like each time we go to a flashback and we come back, and like, I don't know. I thought we pulled it off well. Like, we made it interesting.
What are your favorite parts as a DP watching the movie?
As a DP,
Yeah.
watching the movie,
Or it doesn't
how
matter.
beautiful.
How is it as
Yeah.
a Parker watching the movie?
I mean, I don't know. I don't honestly, like, I was so focused on my job while I did it that I look for other things now. So like when I watch it, and I've watched it like multiple times, I look more for like stuff that the actors have done that I wasn't able to notice because I was behind the camera, you know.
Okay.
So like, of course, like I like the way it looks, and like I'm like, oh yeah, I like that, or oh, I could have lit that better, or oh yeah, I should light like that again. But I'm kind of more focused on stuff that I wasn't able to take in while I was there filming, like stuff that I didn't notice, like that you probably noticed as a director because you were watching the actors.
Trying to.
So like that's kind of trying to watch the actors.
Trying to watch the actors.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I notice it. I notice everything. I take it all in.
I got some favorite shots.
You have favorite shots?
Yeah. So
I mean, I guess I
I
have-
was kind of okay. Go ahead.
No, you go. I do have favorite shots, but I'll
Go
say
ahead,
mine
Parker.
now. Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I do love the 2001 inspired shot,
Okay.
like the belt going up into the
All
air.
right.
That's probably my favorite shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked the way that you lit the jail, the cells. You did something. You like took this very bright orange gel
Yeah.
over the light that was in the cell, and then we had the blue lights on the outside. And so that was something that I don't think like. Being university students and in film school, you don't see that in people's shorts. You don't see different colors.
Yeah.
Like that's just something you
yeah.
don't see.
Yeah.
People just like, oh, it's the one color of the light.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Parker actually has like some contrast here, and it looks
the-
really cool. And
Did the blue and the orange,
did the
Michael
blue
Bay.
and the orange, yeah. I was thinking
Look.
like David Fincher because David Fincher only has two colors in his movies. It's yellow or blue.
Yeah.
It's not that cinematographer either because you see his other movies and he doesn't do that. So it's Fincher.
It's a Fincher thing. Yeah,
it's like
for sure.
only blue or yellow, and that's the only colors we can have unless there's blood. Then there's lots
Yeah.
of red. But anyway, that was a cool shot.
you.
I
Yeah.
love the shot when they're in the office. I think that was set up really well. Production design wise, Hector did that.
Oh,
and then
that
we had
scene.
it was really simply lit too. So you just had the lights blasting in through the windows.
Yeah. And it was at nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Shot that at night,
Yeah.
and it's
And
freaky.
it looks- each time I watch it, I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, that was at like 9:00 at night in December when we filmed that. It was like pitch black. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. I like the way that looked personally, and then I also I did really enjoy the ending scene when the lights go off. I thought that
Yeah.
looked way cool.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
that was some good stuff.
I'm glad I flipped out about the gel in front of the window.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
did too because it looks so good
Yeah,
now.
you guys were like it took so long for you guys to figure out
It
what I
did
was
take
trying
us-
to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Because
oh,
what was it? We
window.
saw the edge of the gel on the light.
and there was a part where it was folded over and it was thicker, so it would have just been like this like weird blue bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys, stop! We gotta fix this.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
And,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's ruined. And you're like, where's your? We gotta get this rolling.
Was this a high stress set?
No, this is my interpretation of my memory.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was just high stress for her.
And well, somebody was giving me hassle, but I don't remember if it was you or like Parker or someone.
It wasn't Joe.
Parker was. Somebody was like, what? And then I just went and did it because whoever I was trying to tell to do it was like no idea what I was talking about, and I'm like, I just have to do
I'm
it.
glad you did it either way.
It's like,
Wait,
couldn't
were they
articulate it.
were they getting mad at you too, slightly, or like?
I
Very
think I was
quickly?
keeping everyone from like going because like I was trying to tell them.
Oh, it took like 2 hours to set up that set
Yeah.
because we had a lack of grips.
Yeah.
So
We
people
really
who
did. Yeah.
Oh,
moving
yeah.
I
things
know.
around.
I was the AD, so I was the one
Yeah.
that was supposed to keep the shot going, but I knew it was a bad thing,
Yeah.
and like.
But you
so
jumped in.
You're welcome. Is
you.
what I'm saying.
No, and it's a good thing because it's one thing to like watch it. Like I'm looking at the little view monitor,
And I was
and
looking
it's
at it on the big monitor,
And it's like,
and I was like,
I don't really
ugh.
notice it, but we're shooting
Yeah.
in. We shot in 5K or 4K.
We shot in 4K.
4K. So it's like if we ever played it on a big screen, it'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's a gel right there. It's like
Yeah.
huge.
It's a gel.
It's like the size of
Yeah.
an ant on a view monitor, but like on a big screen, it would be like the size of like a Coke can or something. So
So you're welcome.
So good job,
Praise
Paige.
me. Praise
thank you, Paige.
Very much praised. I don't think we could have done this movie without you, Paige.
Oh,
frankly,
yeah.
No,
you
we
did
couldn't
all
have.
the hard work.
me. Did I?
Yeah.
I feel like
did.
I did the worst. Like,
No, you did the stuff that I could never do in a million years.
I don't
I
want to do it again.
That's okay. You've done it once.
I'll have to do it now
It'll
forever.
be way easier later.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true,
I already know
yeah.
how to do it. So then
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
well, I don't have to stress about that because that's not important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, for me, it's like now I know how to make a movie, and I also know what not to do. Because
Right.
the first thing is not going to write a movie with 70s flashbacks in it ever again,
Unless you have
I
a
had
budget?
Unless you have a big
money.
budget.
yeah.
And so it's like modern day young actors, because we know young actors.
Suburban.
Doesn't mean they'll show up,
Caucasian.
honestly, but we know them, and so we know that they can show up, and so
Yeah.
that's it. That's the secret.
So I can't do my Western now, is what you're saying? Like,
You got a Western?
I,
Oh yeah,
You know I want to do a Western.
I want to do a Western. Schweiss wants to do a Western.
It'd be so sweet.
El Husk.
It's crazy.
El Husk.
Yeah.
I want to like ride
Oh,
off
yeah,
into
you
the
told me about
sunset and like freedom. That's what I want.
Okay.
You know? Maybe a bit of magic. Whatever.
We could do it.
We need a
A
bunch
bit of magic.
I don't
Hold
know.
on.
Maybe a bit of mythology. Maybe a little bit of wonderment. Maybe a little bit of the universe being affected.
Is it
I
like
don't know.
Cowboys and Aliens, but it's
Ooh,
cowboys
gross. No.
and sorcerers?
That was the worst. That's not what I mean by magic. Like, you know, like mythology, God, something like that, theories, minds, you know, the universe. You know?
Fun.
I feel like this wonderment.
Space
this idea of
Western.
wonderment.
Is that
We've
what we're
decided on our next project.
No.
There's no space
That's
El
like
Husk.
aliens.
really.
Paige.
There's no space aliens. There's no fairies. I'm not talking about that kind of magic. I'm not talking about Harry Potter. I'm talking about wonderment. Think about it. Just think about it.
Like movie magic.
Yeah, you movie magic, and the more you know. I just did the rainbow.
Okay.
thing. They don't know.
All right. Where are
Continuing.
we?
What should we talk about next?
Oh,
Post production was a pain. Yeah.
Post-production? Yeah.
When
this
did
is-
post production begin? By the way, like we finished filming
January.
in like, yeah,
Late January.
we like
So
dove right in.
we had a whole ton of files, and we didn't have space to put them on. So the person who was our DIT kept our files for like a long time. And like I had like half of them, so I would look at the footage and be like, "Wow, this shot looks really cool." There's no sound, but this shot looks really cool.
I wish I could hear what's going on.
That's all I would play on my little thing. Like, I can't wait to edit this thing. Parker did not Parker. Hector did a. You have both names. That's a real problem. Hector did a like assembly cut of the movie.
Yeah.
and it was a disaster.
It was pretty rough.
And it's not Hector's fault.
I don't
That's how
think I
all assemblies are.
Saw it.
Yeah.
It
Was it that bad?
It was so unwatchable.
It was pretty bad.
I was like, "Oh, please, just kill me!" And then I remembered a quote from we bring him up again and again. His name is David Fincher.
Oh yeah.
A modern filmmaking hero. He did say that if you don't want to kill yourself when you see the rough cut, then there's something wrong.
You know,
And I was like, well, I do want to kill myself.
that's a good thing.
People have paid for this movie.
yeah.
We almost
what
killed
have we
ourselves
done?
making it. And so,
That's a good quote.
that is
You really said that?
yeah, he really
You should have it
at least
framed.
I might have it framed.
We should have
someday.
David Fincher on the show. If
Yeah, we
he's,
should,
If
yeah.
he's listening,
Let's
if you're
get him on the
listening to
show.
this,
I'll get in touch.
Yeah.
okay.
We go
All right,
back.
if
pull
you can
some
do that,
strings.
that would be great.
Anyway, so it was awful. And so what I did is I said, okay, I had to make some changes, and then things just weren't moving fast enough. So we started this process where he would do an edit, I would do an edit, he would do an edit, then I did the edit, and I think that's as many times as we went around. And that was a few weeks. So that wasn't like a short amount of time. And then I worked on the edit a little bit more until we brought everybody in and just kind of like we all had an opinion on the cuts. And then we said,
Fine-tuned.
okay, this is the cut. And then we couldn't find someone to do sound for like forever.
Yeah,
That was a nightmare.
Look, okay, that's something I didn't even realize it'd be that hard.
Yeah.
Like the way that Dennis was explaining it was like, you know, then in the process, you know, later on in post, that's when you're going to find your composer, and that's when you start kind of creating a soundtrack. And you know, I'll never do that again. Like, we're gonna find a composer, and he's gonna be with us from the beginning.
Yeah, from
so
pre-production.
Create a theme, create a style. So if he's like an artist that's slower, which you know what, I love our composer to death. He's my favorite, and I love his work. And I know you guys have different opinions, but I love it. I love the music.
Okay,
I do too.
I especially.
It took me a few watches with the music on because I asked for
Yeah.
something.
Well,
Way different.
You did, and then kind of shit hit the fan a little bit, and then you were like free reigns, and I was like free reigns are happening. So I let him do whatever he wanted, and we got what we needed in time. So hooray! And I love the bit where it gets all like techno-y, and I'm like, I'm in the Matrix, and then like
That was the one part that I wasn't sure.
I
on,
love
but
it.
Now it's grown.
Well,
on me,
Parker,
Believe me,
we got the
I shared
email.
that.
We got the email with the sound on it, and me and Parker were at my laptop, and we were like, okay, let's listen to this bad boy.
just by
And
itself,
then
not with the footage.
We were just confusion. Just like,
It's like,
what is this
happening?
it? It's just like drums, and then
We thought he sent the
then
wrong
I went to the loud
thing.
part of the file because you could see. I was like, what? And it was like, and I'm like, didn't I ask for not modern?
It's like, all right, real quick, Parker, look up how to make a Slipknot videos on YouTube.
I honestly
I'm
think
getting out.
he chose correctly for the interrogation, because if he
It was
would have
weird.
had like a real music, it would have been too overpowering. For there's so much dialogue going on.
Yeah,
It's
I think
just, you know.
the music and the acting were the two things that I was probably the most impressed with in the end. I mean, the script and all of that I was already familiar with, but I knew there were some mixed initial feelings on the soundtrack, so I was like, I don't know, man. But the whole time, like, it did exactly what it needed to do for
Makes
me.
you feel uneasy.
It does. It's like an uneasy feeling. It's
Yeah,
like
you guys are giving me shit for it.
it's like how I felt how I feel when I'm watching 2001. It's just like like it's creepy, but it's like, why is this creepy? It shouldn't be creepy at all, but it makes you feel weird, and that's like, it does that the entire time. So
It
I
makes me
thought
feel
that
like
was
I'm on a terrible acid trip. Like,
yeah.
just like
Yeah, very uneasy. I'm just like, I've had 5 energy drinks and I feel like I could die at any moment, which I probably could.
you can if
At
you
that
exceed 400 milligrams of caffeine.
Sure matters on your weight, though, right?
Oh, average adult.
Average adult.
Weak.
The
But
music though is like, I love the like the recurring, like it's you almost don't even know that it's music. It's like a sound. It's like that. You know the sound I'm talking
Yeah.
about? That kind of plays.
Yeah, I
every
know
once
the
in a
sound you're talking about.
Yeah.
Parker.
Like I love that.
I like the theme. I
Yeah.
like it.
yeah, it's good, man. It's
Yeah, so that was terrible, and we had something with the sound department that they're trying to do, and the whole thing about UVU is the whole program is new, so they're trying to develop, at least it's their dream, I think, where the separate departments within the university is going to be working together. So sound will be able to create the music for the film people, and theater could be the actors. Like, look at this dream we have.
Oh yeah,
but it's not going to happen.
Waste of effort
Yeah.
looking for those actors.
yeah, they'll
man.
never show.
Yeah.
Well, if the theater department made a bigger stand on it, rather than like, no, we are only theater, even
Yeah.
though everyone wants to be in film who's in theater. I mean, they want to have their stage
mean,
lights.
Yeah, and
I
if they
mean,
say
really, come
if they
on.
say otherwise, they're
Movies are way
liars.
better.
No, you do, because that's how you make money, unfortunately. But theater is
That's
its own
right.
special thing. I love theater, but it didn't happen. So like, one guy from the music department contacted me like in late March and was like, I am your composer, if you could get me in contact. And
Oh,
I'd be
because
like,
you gave him one email or something. Yeah.
or something early, and it's like forever. I'm like, what? Like,
what the
I've
fuck?
already found someone. I'm sorry, man. And then he found out that I wasn't the director, and he got all weird about it. Mind you, this is all through email, so everything's misconstrued.
I'll just
And-
tell him I don't like to talk to people. I like to leave that to Paige.
Yeah, he's like, I need to speak with your director. I can't speak with you because. And then I'm feeling all crazy. Like, is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm a woman?
Definitely.
That was the only
you
reason.
can't help it these days, man.
Is there anyone else we can talk to? A man, perhaps?
I have had that happen.
Excuse me.
Objection. I've had that happen to me.
Overruled.
I used to work at this segue. I used to work at a Radio Shack years ago, and I had a customer come in, and he's like, "Oh, can I have a guy come and help me?"
Are you serious?
Yeah, I kid
I'm
you
having
not.
a man issue.
I need a man to come and help me because you're a lady and she don't know anything about electronics.
Yeah, it's
And,
like, well, you're a man, so
I was so furious. I
you
was
know how
like,
to do it.
sure, you can't, whatever. And I went to the back, and I had one of the noobs who didn't know anything go and help him because, of course, I was crying.
Yeah.
Like,
Way in the back.
Whatever.
Of course.
Way in the back. Grab a baseball bat.
I wanted to. We had some box cutters
Lock
in
the
the back, and I
doors.
thought about violence.
Don't let any new customers in.
Yeah, break his
pull a
kneecap
good-
and be like, man, I swung that like a guy, didn't I? Maybe I do know about your RCA cable that you're looking for. Yeah, maybe working here is enough. I don't know.
I don't know. You're right. You know.
Yeah, that is pretty lame. I could see the director thing being weird, but it's like you don't want to. Yeah, talking to you is probably better.
Yeah, because I'm.
What are you saying, Joyce? What I'm saying is that
I'm
you
the
have a lot
mediator.
going on.
Yeah, like I'm the one that knows. Well, hopefully, I'm the one that knows what's going on. And if I'm like the mediator between all the other departments, I should be able to stay on top of things. Hopefully, I don't always. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if I dropped the ball. I'm sorry.
Everybody has dropped the ball at some point during this.
You're dropping so many balls, man.
During this process, it's just it's human nature. But how has the reception been from people that that you've shown the film to? Because at this point, the film is done. As far as we know, we've submitted it to 11 festivals. It costs a lot of money to do that, by the way.
When's the earliest we'll hear word back from those?
When will we hear back?
Yeah.
Man,
Earliest.
the earliest one's July.
Okay, so we still have a
We got a
couple
long
months.
time, man. And who knows what it'll get into and what it won't get into.
Right.
Don't know. But that's where we're at right now. What has been the reaction?
It's been all positive for me.
Yeah, I've a lot of.
Everyone's like, holy, like it's a film. Like you
They're
made a film.
surprised that it actually like one of so when we had our big senior night and all of us came and watched it and like friends and stuff, one of my buddies, like he had to leave early, but he said it's the only thing that he saw that actually evoked some form of emotion for him. So
Disgust.
no
But it was still an emotion.
I was
wasn't
really
disgusted.
mad.
He was really impressed. He was really impressed with the work and it seemed really professional and polished, and that's like awesome. Like I'm like, we did it, you
I
guys.
say thank you, sound guy, because that
you
was
did
the most
great.
important thing.
Yeah. Once we finally got us in.
Yeah, once we actually got us in, he did a very quickly.
Yeah, he did a really good job too.
Plot twist: Parker actually hasn't seen the movie yet.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I love the part where we kept it in, right?
love
The light thing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
light thing.
I love Brian David Mitchell. He's
you
really
know,
good.
I watched it with some pals. And it was good.
I don't know. I haven't really gotten any like super negative responses. Like, if I tell anyone about it, I get a negative response. But if they watch it, then they seem to like it.
Okay, let's talk about Orson Scott Card's brother.
Orson Scott Card's brother.
I have some theories here.
Minus that. He didn't watch the whole thing. Though.
No, he watched 4 minutes of it.
4 minutes isn't going to give you the whole spiel.
All right.
All right.
Explain what happened,
Well,
Paige.
it was
Okay,
still the
okay.
rough.
All my
So-
emotions are in that room right now, so I might not tell the story right.
So this was a tale of gone by. No. So that night, everyone, it's just like your mid segue point for the senior projects where we all come in and show what we have, and it's with the board of the DGM department and the head
board.
instructors. So that's like the lead professors, and Arlen. He should I say that?
Oops.
Whatever. He's got a Wikipedia page. He exists.
The head guy, he's an attorney, so he's also looking for things that the university gets sued for, which is legit.
Okay.
Don't want to get sued.
Right.
Yeah.
Which you're not going to for a short film.
important.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, it's
No short
also
film has ever been sued.
I know.
But we could be the first.
You be the first.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it's to also it's
do
like
it.
a form of practice for them as the department to see if they can keep people on track, and for us as individuals to learn how to meet deadlines.
Okay.
So we go in there and it's just like kind of an awkward tension moment, and we're just there and watching it, and we only get through like 4 minutes because our piece was like 20 minutes plus, and it's a long piece, so they clearly don't have the time to watch it, and they stop us right after.
Let's get started, is the line that Seth says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. So the first little bit is a lot of swears, a lot of F-bombs. And you know what? You kind of you have to have it in order to let the audience kind of ease into this world, or else it's just too much later on.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not why I wrote it, but that is a good after excuse.
No,
Yeah.
well,
No.
that's what I thought. That's what honestly, because
Yeah.
that's how I thought.
You can't,
R-rated.
just
And-
have this
and that's-
happy-go-lucky film, and then all of a sudden, child
Yeah.
rape.
But and that's why the
Bro.
guards talk like that, like that kind of military police mentality. Like you're dropping f-bombs all the
And
time.
Paige would know. She's in the
I'm in the
military.
military, we love our
Expert.
words. It's unprofessional, whatever. And so he starts going on about how you don't want to scare away your audience by showing something that intense really early on, and that you're going to alienate a portion of the audience that is within this area,
Oh my
within
goodness.
Utah.
The local audience. If I hear that word one more time, I'm like,
the local audience.
why are I gave Dennis a pretty big email at the end of the year. I was like, why? Go ahead, Paige.
My dad said the same thing, but there you go.
Okay.
And you were not, I could tell you were stressed, and I'm just sitting there, I'm just like with my hands in my lap, just not knowing what to do about the situation. And you guys are kind of going at it, and then Arlen's like, Joe, you got a chip on your shoulder and you gotta work it out.
Which is true.
And I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? And like I stare at
Paige's
this
life
like
flashed before.
professor that's across from me, and I don't know his name, and we give each other this look of like gulp. And I'm like,
Oh my God, Joe and this brother of a fantasy writer are about to get into a fight. I can't believe this is happening right now.
and I'm just like, please God, let me get out of here. and luckily, like one of the professors stuck up for us, and,
Yeah.
and he's
Dwayne Anderson,
awesome,
filmmaker
awesome.
in his own right.
Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, hold on, like this is something that needs to be in it, and this isn't a film for 6-year-olds by any means. That's not who it's for. So we're not worried about alienating them. Like,
Yeah.
come on. And I don't even know what
I
happened.
mean, my
after
first
that.
comment to Arlen Card was he's like, "Well, I have a friend who believes," so it couldn't be come from Arlen's own thought here. He said he had a friend who had this thing where he doesn't understand why anybody would want to limit their audience. And I said, "Oh, your friend." Sarcastically,
no.
like an a-hole, I said, "Oh, your friend must not be that big of a fan of Goodfellas."
I forgot
Arlen,
that.
by the way, like made $250 million at box office, 300 F-bombs, whatever. Okay.
And it's amazing.
Yeah,
I think
big
this is
audience
where
for
I,
that
like,
movie.
left my
Dwayne
brain.
Anderson, the only person in the room who laughed at my comment. Arlen Card's stone face. He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Go ahead." And
Dennis and like Bob,
Goodfellas.
both of them are like, I'm just saying names all over the place. They're just like our own film department. Like only one professor stuck up for us. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
barely,
if,
yeah.
if you guys didn't want this to be made, you should have stopped us when you had the chance.
when you had the script,
right?
They're the
Like
ones that we had to get permission from.
it's not
to do
like how much in the script is in the film
The
is in the
script
script.
is worse than the movie.
Yeah, it is.
We had, because we didn't say that there was a shadow of a girl on the window. We said that there was a girl undressing.
I mean, when I was
New
reading
girl.
it, there was. It wasn't just a shadow either, let's be
Yeah.
clear. We toned it down from Schweiss version.
and then
We did.
there's
Schweiss
actual
0.0 is awesome.
old pinup magazines that you show, but we never.
we were gonna
Yeah.
put like real images of old pornography.
Porn.
Yeah, it was legit.
And I was like gonna do it in some artistic way where it was like they was gonna look at it and it was gonna flash
Yeah.
for like one frame.
Go up in the attic
Yeah.
and get the old
And-
collection, like
Nice.
And then I just decided, we could do it a different way.
Which I think was better.
The
and more
movie
gross.
Yeah.
is the movie is not as bad as it was in the script.
No, yeah.
And it was like, Arlen, you signed off on this script.
So either he didn't read it,
So he didn't read it.
he
he
didn't
didn't
read
read
it.
it. Yeah.
Which it drives me nuts. So this brings us back to where we were at the beginning of this conversation, where I was like, they were supposed to read all the scripts and pick the best ones.
you know what really happened?
They didn't
though?
read the scripts.
They didn't read 'em.
It didn't matter. We just had to make our movie, and I'm glad we
I
did.
think at that point, like they just didn't care. Like, what project do you have? Because they it seemed like some of the stuff that got made was like weird and like,
Are you saying that the other projects weren't as good, Paige?
oh
No, but I am.
Here's
no,
what
I really love Williams.
Yeah.
I died in that. So
I love
funny.
Williams, too.
It's so
Vanilla.
funny.
the true thing that happened is all of his life he's been living in his brother's shadow, right? And like his one escape is film.
Tear downs.
And then his brother gets Harrison Ford to be in a movie based on his book.
You're never gonna
And so
win.
he's like, screw this, man. I am done. I am going to take it out on
Take it out on
Joe.
the students.
Joe, you got a chip on your shoulder. I don't know why he sounds like that,
You know
but
what?
that's how he
He
sounds.
is
Did he do it in
I
Harrison
will-
Ford's voice?
That's the only time I've ever had a negative experience with Arlen. Let me explain. Only time I've ever had a negative experience with Arlen, and he's still dead wrong. But also, I had 2 classes from him. He was the best teacher in the entire department.
He is. He really is.
He really was. Like, as far as like quality teachers go, and someone that you learn from, and someone who's engaging in the classroom, he really is the best teacher.
Yeah, no, I really liked him for audio. Like, I'm not an audio person, but I
didn't learn very
passed
much.
the class.
Wow,
I like
passed
Reese.
the class.
Like
Reese?
Shout out to Reese Christensen.
I love Reese Christensen.
Reese is
Did you
awesome.
know he was a photographer for my parents' engagements?
Really?
Yeah, isn't that hilarious?
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got his like stuff in my house of my mom in like the 70s, and she's just like sitting in a wheat field, like looking great.
He took that picture?
He took it
Back in the 70s?
little 80s, 70s, whatever it was.
Whenever
80s?
my parents' anniversary.
You know, that thing.
Yeah, whatever.
80s.
my
It would have been.
birth,
it would've
yada,
been
yada.
In my
1980.
opinion, Arlen Card's the best teacher in the entire bunch.
Yeah.
I took 2 classes from him. I love him to death, except for that day was just not a good day because me and Arlen are both kind of like type A individuals.
Yeah.
And we were both really combative, and we just kind of went at each other.
I feel like I should have like stepped in, but then at the same time, I was like, I'm not gonna. I can't.
If
I
Joe
can't-
goes down, he
I
goes
can't
down
diffuse
alone.
this. No, it was
part of
was
this
so it's such a hard situation because it's not like these are your professors. It's they have such an authority position over you as a student that it's like it's.
do?
I mean, you're you're a winner, I guess.
You know, I only
Just
volunteered
defend
for it because it
yourself.
was the last thing left. My team abandoned me, and I just didn't want to. No, that's not going to happen.
I wish I
Well,
was there.
I guess I
wasn't
just
even
let you
there.
die. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'll drag you once the
Dwayne,
fire
I've never
is
had
over.
more respect for Dwayne than that day. I was
Yeah,
like,
that was
thank you,
great.
Dwayne. Thank you. Okay, so my parents watched the movie.
Oh, what they?
Oh, jeez.
come on. What'd they say?
And they were very impressed with the film, and they said it creeped them out. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of what it's supposed to make you feel uneasy. It's supposed to like
Yeah.
deal with things that you know
You don't wanna
that
talk
are tough
about.
to deal with. And then my dad argued with like he lectured me for like 20 minutes
Oh,
about the same thing Arlen Card did about how many F worded.
You got a chip on your
It's like
shoulder.
that
Joe.
Caleb, man.
what you kids shouldn't be making that kind of stuff. Kids,
Anyway.
kids. I guess we're kids.
And
you
then he
guys.
warned me. I'm like, well, I'm just not going to have you watch any of my movies then. And then he says, I'm going to go see every single one of your movies.
Oh,
So
he
just think about
loves you.
And then tear it to pieces.
Yeah. Well, my
and then
parents
give you a-
thing, my parents' hard thing were like, because we live in this the Mormon society, which of course a lot of this movie is about. Because we live in this society, like everybody's really clean cut, and they don't curse. They don't like it's not
Really?
okay.
'Cause
You don't watch
in
rated R
public.
movies.
Yeah.
In public, yeah. Well, that's how it's supposed to be, I guess. And then,
There are a lot of sassy people.
and my parents are like, we can't show this to our friends. We can't like,
Yeah.
we
That's
can't
kind
like
of a bummer.
say, oh, this is my son's work, because it's just too harsh.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
unless they
So-
have friends that can deal with it, and I guess in that sense it's a shame, you know. But I mean, it's what you made, so
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sucks. I mean, because I have the same thing. Like, there's people, like, cousins of mine that are, like, into film, and, like, I haven't shown it to them because they're so, like...
Well, how are they into film? That's something that's
know,
always been
I know,
like
I know.
all the
Are they?
all the
do
great
they just work
American
with the
movies
church?
are all rated R.
No, they watch movies, not film.
Yeah.
That's
all the great American movies since 1968
Whatever.
pretty much are like all rated R.
No. Like The Fountain, fantastic. I love it.
Let's not get started.
You want to talk about the Fountain right now? Caleb agrees with me.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God,
two
I
against
love
two.
it so much. It's about love, you guys. It's about love.
Oh, it's about yoga and space.
Me and Paige love it. Joe and Caleb don't.
You know what? Statistically, it's 50-50. 50-50. Okay?
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway,
It is his worst
back.
movie,
It is-
easily.
No.
Oh yeah.
I would rather
False.
watch Pie, and that thing is rough, man. That thing
I
is
would maybe
old.
agree with that. I actually haven't seen Pie.
I haven't
so,
seen that one
but-
either.
It's good.
You know, I don't like Noah. You know,
I haven't seen that yet.
I mean, they
You guys
do
haven't
a
seen
lot
Noah?
of
No.
cool cinematography.
Noah.
But the
Noah.
story kind of got weird, like
I couldn't believe
Yeah,
it. The whole flood thing, just too much.
I loved it because
It's so unrealistic.
it was
I'm
so
for
fun to watch
fantasy,
in
but-
theaters because the woman in front of me was like, I didn't know Jesus was in this movie. He's over there and he's like just there and he's part of the family. And I'm like, that's just one of the sons.
He just has long
That's not
hair.
the son. That's just a son.
It's Ham and they're not getting any of it
Wow.
right. But
Anyway, it was stressful making this movie.
Yeah. It
was.
6 days of pain.
But I'm glad we did it
A
that
script
way.
Yeah.
that I was pretty proud of, that I thought I had a lot of people back me up on. Only you beautiful Indiegogo listeners.
Yeah. Seriously.
You guys backed up this film, and we really appreciate it. We could not have fed the crew without you, and if we didn't have food there, we would have had an even angrier, more pissed off crew than we did.
I feel like we did pretty good on
I-
Crafty.
Yeah, I think we did too.
Yeah, because I did
The
it, so give me praise.
dark chocolate covered almonds.
I'm fishing here, fishing for compliments.
Give me praise.
I did
right.
demolish the almonds. I will say that was the best part.
I should have got more of those.
No, it was great.
yeah.
Good God. Yes, we should have.
Caleb ate all the almonds.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm
Movie's
ex-
done. Pretty proud of it.
Yep.
Didn't think it was going to turn out even this well. And I thought everybody did. They stepped up and did a good job. During the edit, I didn't feel that way, but you just got to craft that edit.
You just
got to
remember David Fincher.
I wonder if we
gotta be
could,
good.
if we did this outside of it, if we could do it in the amount of time that we did it in. I mean, we had such a deadline that made us stick to it.
Oh, without school?
Yeah, like how long would it really take us? Like, would we have just stretched this out over a year and been like, ugh,
You probably shouldn't, but
I don't think we would have done a short film.
you would have done a
Yeah.
full length.
Yeah.
And the edit would have just taken like
Thing
about
is,
a year.
of course,
Yeah.
you can't get sued for a short film. You can't get sued for a long form film because once it becomes feature length, it can then be viable as a thing that makes money. Short films don't make money. No. Not unless you're like a freak YouTuber. So, like,
Our audience isn't quite there.
yeah. So, we're gonna take this film. We're gonna see what it can do for us. You got this beautiful Blu-ray at home that
That you're listening to this on.
you're listening to this
Which is
on.
weird, but whatever.
Or
Yeah.
you're listening to the podcast and you're like, I want that movie. You're just going to have to wait until we get our festival premieres out of the way because we can't show it outside of that.
Yeah.
Bunch of
It
legal
will-
mumbo jumbo.
Semantics.
It will come, though, and I can't remember exactly what date we decided on for the stuff coming out, but it was pretty far ahead of when we thought we were going to be done on the Indiegogo. I don't know how far ahead. And it might have been pushed back, but I swear it was like a year after the film date. It was like, this is when you will have it.
Oh, yeah, when we definitely will have it out. Yeah.
It was something like that.
I think it was like January.
it felt like a long time, but now it doesn't because we have so many other things that have to come first.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
But-
hopefully it gets into something.
Yeah, it sucks. We haven't done one of these little podcasts forever, so they're like, "What's
No.
going on?" Like,
I did one by myself.
oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because I was like, "Man, we really need to do those," and I just spaced it every single time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Crap! I hope they don't think we just like
Took
suckers."
their money and ran.
Yeah,
We didn't even make a film.
No.
yeah, psych. It's
Definitely
ours.
did. They paid for a jail cell set. They paid for a couch, some printing of some stuff, some very
Food.
They
Some
did
Subway
some real
sandwiches.
handcuffs with keys.
Oh yeah, those things are.
And then some like old school keys that you had on your person, your uniforms.
Yeah,
Typewriter.
sexy cop. By the way,
I have
behind the
that
scenes.
typewriter.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
You took the typewriter?
No, Hector was like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, we couldn't return the typewriter.
Yeah, so I have it. It's way cool and works.
yeah.
Like I was like working on. I'm like, I feel like I'm in the 80s.
It's pretty sweat.
It is a good looking.
It is terrible because when you make a mistake, you have to redo the whole thing. Like, man, how did they do it back then? Like, you couldn't just backspace.
Yeah.
Jeez,
all work and no play.
By the way, I was
Yes.
super impressed by your cinematography, Parker.
Thank you.
you did great.
So
Parker.
I asked for Skylar. I saw Skylar's shorts. They look good, but I honestly I thought ours looked the best.
I agree.
And Parker also did the color correcting at the end.
Yeah.
So like the whole image is all Parker.
He was my baby.
It was. And thank you, Paige, for helping me make this movie
You're welcome.
and really
Yeah.
just like doing all the hard stuff.
Yeah, you guys did the hard stuff. I got to have fun with.
Thank you,
cameras
Schweiss,
and-
for setting up the Indiegogo and for helping through our podcasting that we do together, getting the film funded.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
That was really important.
And thank you very much to to all of our donors and all of our cast and crew who have this at home. If you listen to this, thank you. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye bye.